Welcome back to Scovid Rewind. In this video, we'll be exploring one of the sci-fi action movie from 2018 titled The Meg. Before we begin, I hope you're having an amazing day. Grab your favorite snack, sit back, and enjoy the recap. Let's dive straight into the story. Jonas Taylor used to be one of the best deep-sea rescue divers in the world. The guy you called when a submersible was trapped and lives depended on getting someone down into the dark and bringing people up. He's gruff, tattooed, and carries the kind of haunted look that screams bad sleep and worse decisions. 10 years before the main story opens, he had a mission go horribly wrong in the depths of the Pacific. A mission that cost men their lives and cost him his career. Since then, he's been living with a single, stubborn truth. He survived when maybe he shouldn't have, and everyone thinks he made the wrong choice. That truth turned him into a private, whiskey-fueled loner who won't dive anymore unless absolutely necessary. Fair warning, he's also very good at running from his past, but that skill has diminishing returns when a prehistoric shark shows up. The film jumps us back into that undersea danger when a cutting-edge research station called Mana 1, sitting over the mysterious thermocline of the Mariana Trench, experiences a serious accident. Dr. Minwei Zhang runs Mana 1, a place where they're trying to study deep-sea ecosystems and, yes, lift weird stuff from depths no one usually sees. His daughter, Suyin Zhang, is one of their lead scientists and the real emotional heart of the facility. Smart, determined, and more than a little reckless when her people are in danger. During a mission to lift a wrecked submersible, something tears through the deep like a freight train, the kind of animal that evolution forgot to keep around. The submersible's crew is trapped, the rescue attempts go sideways, and suddenly everyone realizes they are dealing with something bigger, faster, and hungrier than any modern shark. The company that funds Mana 1 arranges for Jonas to be brought in. He's not thrilled. The trauma still gnaws, but Suyin and her father make it clear they need someone who's been in the worst kind of dark and lived to talk about it. Jonas hesitates, then takes the job, mainly because rescuers bury guilt differently than most. They act. He suits back up and goes down in a small, claustrophobic submersible to reach the damaged craft and pull the scientists up. The initial dive replays his old nightmare. Lights flare, instruments fail, and then a massive shadow that he can't rationalize appears where there shouldn't be anything big enough to cast it. That shadow turns out to be a megalodon, an ancient, gigantic shark thought extinct for millions of years. And it is not keen on sharing its ocean with humanity. The first encounters are brutal and, thankfully for the movie, immediate. Flares, a smashed sub, some heroic but doomed attempts to save crewmates, and a Jonah level of guilt when Jonas is forced into a painful decision that haunts him even more. The rescue is messy, emotional, and the kind of thing that stitches a new layer of PTSD into Jonas's already complicated backstory. He manages to save some, not all, but the megalodon escapes into warmer, shallower waters, where it becomes a far bigger problem. Back on the surface, the discovery that a megalodon is roaming the Pacific sends waves of consequences. Mana 1's investors panic, governments pay attention, and people who thought they could monetize the abyss realize they're in way over their heads. The film switches gears smoothly from claustrophobic deep-sea terror to wide-open, teeth-and-fins chaos as the Meg moves toward coasts frequented by beachgoers, tourists on glass-bottom boats, and vacationers who are very much not expecting the buffet. There are a handful of set pieces where the shark strikes, chaotic boat attacks, tension-filled chases, and a signature scene where a tourist boat is turned into a floating disaster movie that proves the Meg is fast, smart, and can cause major property damage. Su-yin emerges as both a scientist and a moral compass. She pushes for a scientific solution even while her personal need to protect her crew is visceral. Jonas, who initially expects to be a hired gun and then go back to hiding, gradually becomes the muscle with a conscience. The guy who gets into the water when no one else will, and then figures out how to make a plan stick. The supporting players add color. Tough-as-nails pilots who will fly anything that moves, brash corporate types who want to spin headlines into profit, and a couple of comic beats from portside characters who provide some necessary levity amid the teeth, reminding us that in the age of media, someone will always try to live stream a crisis. It's played for laughs, but it also underlines one of the movie's quieter points. Modernity is great until ancient predators ignore your brand guidelines. As the Meg continues to cause havoc, hitting resorts, sinking yachts, and generally ruining everyone's summer, the team realizes they can't outrun it. The strategy becomes about containment. Jonas and Su-yin form a brittle, believable partnership. He brings the practical, dangerous experience of someone who has actually faced the abyss. She brings the data, the maps, and the emotional drive to save the people she loves. Together with a motley crew that includes a hotshot salvage pilot and a steely, pragmatic facility operator, they cook up a plan that involves luring the shark away from populated areas. Jonas has one of those action hero moments where his past trauma is confronted. This time, he makes a choice that redeems him in a way that feels earned, not glossed over. The Meg, after the final confrontation, is neutralized, but the movie smartly doesn't pretend every problem is solved. Nature, especially something ancient and enormous, doesn't go quietly into the night merely because humans clicked "solve problem" in a meeting. The epilogue gives us a quieter, brighter note. Su-yin returns to the lab with her team, the surviving members a little more battered and a lot more bonded. Jonas is changed, lighter in a way the film suggests is real. There's more room for humor, a softer expression when he looks at the people he helped, and even the start of something like a new life. There's also a cheeky wink at the possibility that the ocean still keeps secrets. The final images hint that maybe this wasn't a standalone event after all. If you didn't want the door left open for a sequel, you should have spoken up earlier. Throughout, the movie balances the ridiculous fun of the premise with a surprisingly grounded human core. The Meg is, at heart, a crowd pleaser. It's loud, it's occasionally silly, and it wants you to root for characters who are honest about their flaws. Jason Statham's Jonas anchors the chaos with enough charisma and gristle to keep the story from floating away. Li Bingbing's Su-yin gives the emotional through-line the plot needs, and the supporting cast keeps the tone from getting too grim when it's supposed to be a summer ride. There are some contrived moments and a few dialogue beats that feel like they were written by people who love ocean documentaries and action movies equally, but mostly the film knows what it is: a giant shark movie made with affection and the occasional wink. So if you're in the mood for teeth, tension, and a surprisingly human story about guilt and second chances stitched into a popcorn action framework, The Meg delivers. It's not subtle, it doesn't try to be high art, and it absolutely wants you to enjoy the ride. And if you leave the theater with a newfound respect for depth charts and thermoclines, that's probably a good thing. It means you are paying attention between the jump scares and the heroics. If nothing else, the movie gives you one of the odder but satisfying cinematic truths. Sometimes the only way to face the deepest parts of yourself is to jump straight into the abyss and hope you remember how to swim. Thank you for watching. If you are just new to our channel, don't forget to subscribe for more movie recaps.